Not just another Tuesday night, but it's Hanging with Harry. Now, the man of the hour, the man with plenty to say, Pastor Harry Curry.
Man, Trev, that was beautiful. Guys, I need you to text Trev and thank him and congratulate him for the most normal introduction we've had.
You were going to say that no matter what.
In 8 weeks of Hanging with Harry. So
you were absolutely going to say that.
Welcome tonight. We're going to have a good evening together. We got about an hour, more or less. It won't be that long if you don't talk back. And it may go to midnight if you just keep hammering. Hey, Trevor, are you open to going to midnight?
Probably not. I have a Zoom call at 9.
Okay.
So.
Ben, are you open to going to midnight?
That's probably a no.
Okay. Forget the midnight thing, boys. That's out. It won't be midnight. But we want to, would you just go ahead and make some kind of agreement that you're going to get involved in a conversation? Just say, tonight I will make at least, you can put the number in you want, just don't make it 0 comments. I will ask X number of questions, and I'll get, because it's so much more fun.
The night does go better when people ask questions, interact, have comments.
Yeah, it's just better all the way around. We enjoy it a lot more. And it keeps us from being quite so irrational. That means not making any sense whatsoever. So that's pretty good. Hey, man, I hope you've had a good day. I'm gonna start out the evening with a question for you in just a minute. But I think if it's okay, and I don't know where all we might go, but I'd like to kind of keep the theme of the evening around this issue of Bill Williams' little story. He and his brother were flipping a house. They had most of the work done. They got to the end. Had all these little jobs to do, and his brother said to him, all we're doing now is chasing ugly. And that little theme got on my mind, and I used it in a sermon on Sunday, and I talked about how often we chase ugly. And I don't want to try to make that a scientific theory that you have to just wear yourself out saying, is that true or is that not true? How does that work or not work? Let's don't get that serious with it, but let's have a conversation kind of around the idea of chasing ugly. You just get in a situation and before you know it, you're head over your heels in junk.
I was going to say, can you define that for us for some people that, didn't listen to the sermon yet? Or
yeah, for me it's just maybe going real negative or getting involved in a conversation or a situation that's very somewhere between inappropriate and wrong, or maybe, just for lack of a better illustration, somebody's just being real ugly in a conversation about somebody, and you're in a room and you find yourself kind of getting caught up in it.
Right.
Or you go to the movie with a bunch of friends, not knowing really what you're getting into, and you sit down and you haven't been there 3 minutes when you realize, I have absolutely no business being here, but you're caught up in it. Or your mind just runs down some track, that it's hard to admit, it's just kind of ugly. So I think Or you get consumed with some issue. You know, it's interesting. I got a text from a girl today and she doesn't come to our church very often, but she comes sometimes. And she said, "Thank you so much for the text about chasing ugly. You know me. I just get some negative issue in my heart and I go on and on and on and on and on with it." And she's right. And she said, "You know what? I accept the challenge. Please pray for me. I want to quit living and going that way." And there's enough going on right now in our world that's difficult that we can be just consumed with the ugly part.
Right.
Now, I got a little twist tonight, though I want to talk about in a minute.
I would interject, that's not new.
Oh, Ben, that's not new. Yeah, you can interject anytime, brother. You can interject any.
I think we've had ugly things in our world that we chase for decades and decades and decades.
Even centuries,
Many
Ben.
centuries.
Yeah. Yeah, wow, I love that. And real early, I quoted, or somebody turned me on to a gospel coalition. By the way, if you need a good website to just get some good blog articles sometimes, look up Gospel Coalition. I quoted C.S. Lewis that said, "Don't treat your situation like it's absolutely novel and brand new. Nobody's ever been through anything like this before." So it's not brand new.
Yeah.
And we do get in an ugly place. But a couple of guys, two different men, Ben and Trevor, two different men asked me today this question. Sometimes I feel like ugly chases me. I'm interested, for you guys that are plugged in right now, this is one of those places that we want you to answer. We want you to go ahead and make a comment, ask a question, get involved right now. Do you feel like ugly chases you? I mean, there's just like negative comments, negative people, negative situations. Not just negative, but I don't know what else to call it. Just stuff that you'd like to say, "Man, I don't need this in my life." And sometimes, every time you turn around, there it is. Do you feel like ugly chases you?
That's the question that we're starting off with, right?
That's a question we're starting off with.
I like that.
And we're waiting for answers.
Well, we're waiting. I
Okay,
think-
go ahead, Ben.
So something that occurs to me, when you set up the premise of, I think you said, finding yourself in a situation
Oh,
that's
yeah.
ugly. I wonder if that really happens or if you have ignored other signs along the way that would have told you that situation was going to be ugly and you
Ben-
went anyway.
Ben Hill, you're already at the heart of the matter. You're already 3/4 down the road because, you know, so much of the time we say, "I found myself in a situation that was ugly, presents itself to me," but I already know how that person operates. I know what's on their mind. I've had enough connection with them that I can anticipate when I'm in this setting with them, boom. And to put myself back in that setting seems like I have some responsibility for that. I think you can talk more about that, Ben, and Trevor, you can tell us anybody that's responding. I think sometimes we want to just say, and you've already done a good job, Ben, we want to just say, "It just keeps coming to me." And it feels like we don't want to take responsibility for the fact that we are putting ourselves in a place where we're being exposed to that.
Your wife says, "Too often I find what I am looking for." So maybe interpret that a little bit.
Okay, Anita says, "I find what I'm looking for." That means I've already got that thing on my mind a little bit, like I don't know what the illustration would be. Like a Sunday sermon was a little bit too long, you know, and so I'm already feeling that way, and I'm already kind of disgusted or whatever, and somebody comes along and says, "Man, the preacher preached long today," and you're like, "Dude, he really did," you know, and boom, it's just like,
Yeah.
really, there's a lot of projection, what I call just a lot of projection going on. Man, I put words in people's mouths that they would have never said. They weren't even thinking,
Okay.
but I put them in their heads, you know. So I'm finding what I'm looking for. I think, who is one of the great psychologists, sociologists that said the greatest gift we give to the world is quit projecting our issues on them. That's not a bad idea.
It's good. Katie Hangin says, I don't feel like it chases me, but 100% of the time it is easier to chase ugly than pretty in hard situations.
Yeah. Didn't she added a little bit to that comment that made a huge difference.
Yeah.
She said, it is easier to chase ugly than pretty in hard situations. And boy, those last three sentences make a big difference, last three words make a big difference, because if it's a beautiful day and you're hanging out with the kids and you're at the lake and you're fishing, I mean, it's pretty hard to, you can be pretty positive and be doing pretty well. But get yourself in a bad place. A huge illustration today. You guys may remember too, we had the young couple from the Nicholasville church. They were co-pastors together, Simone and Andrew Twyble. A great young couple, and he preached one Sunday, and I really wanted her to preach, and I don't remember, but maybe both of them preached at different times, and they were particularly young. And maybe about 3 years ago, Andrew got brain cancer. And he just died this week, maybe today. And Simone has every reason to chase ugly. But her Facebook post, she looked somebody looking for beauty. It was amazing that she talked about Andrew in very loving ways, and her faith and confidence and trust in God were bold and strong. And it was such a statement of beauty in the face of an ugly, ugly situation. Right. And I don't...
Do you feel like, this is where I'm at, do you feel like we choose ugly versus ugly chases us?
I don't think we say we choose it. I think a lot of us, and it goes back to again what Ben said a minute ago, a lot of us say, well, it's just a part of my life, man. It's a place I work. It's the guys I go to school with, Noah Hill. It's the people I hang out with. It's a family I grew up in. And so we excuse our role in it and say, it comes to me. It comes to me. I think very few of us say, I'm responsible for the ugliness in my life. I'm not responsible for your ugliness toward me, but I am responsible for my response.
Yeah, I guess I'm not saying like we stir up the ugly or we create the ugly, because I think there's a lot of instances in life where like ultimately we're really not the ones being, really even initiating the ugly, I guess I should say. But I guess what I'm saying is to continue in the ugly, to sit and saturate in the ugly, to just be overwhelmed, I guess, and to just feel burdened down by ugly. I think we choose to be in that.
Trevor, I've done something, and Ben, you jump in the conversation anytime you want. The last couple of days in the church since Sunday's sermon, I've just sent out a little text every day to all the people saying, hey, remember today, don't chase ugly.
Right.
And you would absolutely be surprised at the number of people that would write back and say, man, one of the guys wrote back and said, thank you for that text. It just bumped me off Facebook and I didn't need to be there. And then a lady wrote me this morning. She was so honest and sweet. She said, I realized I was living in ugly all night last night. I remember something that happened 20 years ago that I had nothing to do with. It's just eating my lunch all day long. And I'm grateful today that I need to learn to worship better and trust in God and not dwell in the ugly. And I couldn't help but write her back and say, man, I'm so proud of you for your honesty and your ability to so I think a lot of people are aware of just how much junk. I don't know. I know I'm a perfectionist, so let me disqualify just a little bit. I'd be happy if it's 65 degrees every day and not a cloud in the sky, and everybody was healthy, wealthy, and wise. And that's the world I'd like to live in, and I don't get to live in that world, and you don't either. But greater than that, I would like to find the grace to respond to difficult moments differently than sometimes I do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if everybody else is out there. I don't know how.
I've talked
Go ahead,
to a
Ben.
lot of people over the last couple of weeks that have said, I'm getting off Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. And I think, people that don't want to be in what we're calling the ugly, they know when they're in it, and they know, and they eventually identify this is not what I want to do, and they can take action to get away from it. I think I would argue that may be a problem in the church. I think we take action to get away from the ugly and isolate ourselves away from it. And I think instead we should be taking action to be light in the ugly and making a difference that moves the ugly away from ugly.
Ben, you mind if I
Yeah,
respond to
go
that? I absolutely agree with you. I don't think I think there are times and situations where we need to stay out of ugly. But for the most part, what I'm most concerned about is ugly in me. What I want to deal with is the ugly in me. I recognize, man, we live in a world that's broken and busted. And some days I feel broken and busted. You too, too. And the ugliness that I'm mostly concerned about is the ugliness that's in Harry. That I, like you, I want to be able to be a light in a dark world. I sent out a little report today from Tony Perkins, who does his Family Research Council thing. He talked about the difference in the protest in Washington, D.C. in the last few days. He said the ice cream trucks have been there, and people have been eating on the streets, and the music's been going, and churches have been present and singing Amazing Grace. And so it's like there is an element of light and blessing and sweetness in the middle of a very, very difficult time. And so, man, I'm 100% with you. If we say, I only want to live, yeah. I only want to live someplace where it's not ugly. Well, I can't even live with me, man. You can't even stay at my house because I make it bad.
I wish we get to a point though, with Facebook or anything else, conversations, even our own thoughts, that we could live in a mindset that says, I'm going to share the good things. I'm going to share what the Lord's doing. I'm going to share the positive things that are happening, because it seems like a lot of what you get out there, social media, TV, media, whatever,
conversation, everywhere.
Even sometimes conversation, it seems very negative. It seems very divisive, and I know there are some people, but I think Ben does hit a good point. We have to acknowledge, we need to be light bringers, So part of that is maybe we don't share our opinion or argue. Maybe we share those articles that you shared with me today, and I had a teenager share. Last Wednesday after our phone call, our FaceTime call, she shared a video from TikTok of a whole group of protesters singing praise and worship songs. And it was beautiful. And it's just that's what I want to be not only, I guess, overcome by, and that's what I want on my news feed. But it seems like so many times we go negative quicker, we share the ugly faster, and that has more effect on us than the good, right? Than the beautiful. And I think for some of us, I would ask the question, where do we live life? Do we live life in the beauty most of the time? Or do we live life with things eating our lunch and the ugly? Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense to me.
And I think through the couple of, the week and a half that you've been talking to me about this, Chasing Ugly, I've had to do a lot of self-reflection on
me too, man.
where I'm living, how I'm operating, what I'm doing with my conversations.
There's been a few times in conversations I've just had to say, you know what, I ain't chasing ugly.
Right.
And I was going to tell somebody something today, and I said, no, I ain't doing that. In fact, you find all kind of times when you're just kind of rehearsing some ugly thing that you just don't even need to. But now I do think we are all right. And again, Ben, you kind of set the tone early. We don't need to pretend there is no ugly. We don't need to try to run and hide from the ugly, because it's out there. It's in our town. It's in our church. It's in our homes. It's everywhere, you know. But the challenge is here's what the challenge is for me right now, to believe that God can do something in the middle of that.
Yeah.
I thought about Noah tonight. Noah, I thought about you, buddy. And I thought about God is a factor in the equation. Now, this is a goofy way. I got a goofy mind, but I thought of a very simple little algebraic equation. 2x plus 17 in the parentheses times 5,000. We're going to make 5,000 God. 2x plus 17 times 5,000.
I feel like you need to write this on like a whiteboard or something.
Okay. 2x plus 17 in parentheses times 5,000. No, can you tell me what, if you factor that out, what's that going to be? Can you tell me off the top of your head?
Props for Noah for actually trying to come up with an answer, because I would have just been like, nah.
This is pretty hard. You got to do math in your head pretty quick.
Yeah, I'm not a math guy.
2x times 5,000 is going to give you how many thousand? 10,000x plus 17 times 5,000 is going to give you what? 85,000. I'll help you out with that. So the answer is 10x plus 85,000.
Don't feel bad, Noah.
How goofy is that?
He's already wrote it out, you know. He already had to do the homework.
Dude, get off me, man. Get off me, will you? Get off me. So I can do simple multiplication in my mind. That's all. Hey, dude, I can't do any more of that, but I can do simple multiplication. So you got to say, okay, let's say Noah and I we're just struggling with one another for some reason, and we're not in any way, form, or fashion. I want to trust God enough to know that He's working on me and He's working on Noah. And so that ugly moment has a possibility because God is a factor in the equation. He's working on me. He's working on Noah. And we've all got situations where, man, I want to bring the gospel into everyday life. I hope that God's working. He's moving. He's doing something, you know, just like that little report today about some of the spiritual dynamic in some of these protest sites. Some of the things the church is doing, you know, the church has shown up in those and been a light. Yeah. The church has shown up and sung songs and given out coffee and donuts or whatever. I don't know, but the church has shown up and been a light. And so I just really think I don't want to be a contributor to the garbage. I want to be a contributor to the help, if that makes any sense. I don't want to run from the garbage, but I don't want it in my life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, somebody put this whole year has been ugly, and I've had conversations with lots of people, and you could have and you could probably find yourself saying that sometimes. But I think what I'm getting out of our conversation so far is, man, like that's a great opportunity for us as Christians to encourage people, to point people to Jesus. To share light. Like, I know that's a little bit cheesy, but I think at the same time, if you don't do that, you will be like swept away by the ugly. Like, if you don't like make that decision every day when you wake up, you will be overcome by the ugly that's
I don't know why this person comes to my mind, but remember, I may even use her wrong, Joni Eareckson Tada.
Okay.
Who was a paraplegic from a skiing accident, I think, and learned to draw with her pen in her mouth. And it has had a powerful testimony, has drawn beautiful pictures, and you want to go, how in the world did you take the ugliness that has devastated your life and still been a positive? You think, I know she had long, hard nights. Don't you guys think so?
Yeah.
Some nights where she just wanted to cry herself to sleep and just... But somehow,
Who's the motivational speaker with no arms and no legs?
Do you know Noah, the young man that he's like a?
I want to say he's Christian.
Yasinovich or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a Russian.
Ben will find him. He literally has no arms and no legs,
Yeah.
and is the most.
You can find him on
positive
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, Ben will find him and tell him.
Nicholas Vujicic.
Yeah, Nicholas Vujicic or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and
Literally no arms, no legs, and he's a motivational speaker.
he's a motivational speaker.
Like really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
To think like you could wake up every day and hate yourself, hate God because you have no arms and legs, but like he turns that into motivational
Don't
speaking.
you want to be that guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't you want to be that? Go ahead, Ben.
I
Go
said
ahead.
his name wrong. It's Voyachich.
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 Yeah.
Okay, that helps a lot.
It says here how to pronounce it.
No wonder. No wonder.
Let's fix that.
Post one of his videos.
Voyachich.
Post one of his YouTube videos on there so somebody can watch.
You know, sometimes when I'm on YouTube looking at something, I don't know how to run that thing very well. But it's like you get all these other videos that come up along the way.
Right.
And there's this video of a little boy, I don't know, he was playing the piano and it was obvious he was blind. Well, and then his aunt gets on and tells a story. You know, my youngest brother had a son with his girlfriend and said he was born at 26 weeks and weighed 1 pound and 12 ounces. And I was sad and I prayed for him and that was about it. Weeks later, the Lord brought him back to mind. I thought, I need to find out where he is. Where's my nephew? So I called social services. Sure enough, he was out, some foster parent. So she adopted him. Come down, he had huge physical issues. He was totally blind, but he had perfect pitch. And so here he's standing up. It moved me so much. He's at the Northland Church in Florida. I don't know why I know the church, but it's a good church, strong church. He's standing up in front of that congregation with a great band playing behind him, singing perfectly. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord.
Oh yeah.
It was
I
just
remember that story,
overwhelming
yeah.
to me. You think,
Yeah.
how's this kid who was somewhat autistic and totally blind, but is blessed with perfect pitch, and so he's able, and he kept doing this, you know, sometimes he moved his hand, you know, like the kid. He's able to use the good that is in his life in the midst of all that junk. I mean, just junk. His name was Stephen Duffley, I think, Duffley. And it's moving to me, especially because I've been studying Isaiah, and it said Jesus didn't judge by what he saw. He didn't decide by what he heard. He made those decisions out of rightness, a right relationship with God. And I am quick to judge by what I see and decide by what I hear. And somehow I've got to be bigger than that.
Yeah.
And the Lord can help us to be bigger than that.
Joseph Pryor says, sometimes I encounter ugly myself when I am put in certain situations. You try to avoid it, but lose patience after 3 strikes. Usually by the 2nd strike, I make the choice to either pursue to encounter the ugly or make the choice that is not worth the encounter.
I wish I did it after 2 strikes.
Me too.
I think,
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier, you know, I guess I'm trying to figure out, you know, because of what's all going around, I've just been wondering, you know, am I racist? And I've just kind of been like trying to make that decision if I check that box or don't check that box for me personally. And I don't know. I think, you know, I've definitely been in situations where there's been people around me that have been, you know, making racist comments, no question. And I don't tell them that offends me, and I don't tell them to stop, and I don't, you know, or if they're, you know, you can fill in a lot of things. I've been with people often that are, you know, making derogatory comments about women. I don't tell them to stop. Don't tell them it offends me.
Dirty jokes, whatever.
Yeah, dirty jokes
just
or
kinda-
whatever, and you know, I'm, you know, at some point, you know, and you know, you can fill in tons of different examples.
Yeah,
of that.
whatever you want it to be.
And
That's
at
right.
some point, you know, I went from a point of being shocked and disturbed by that to tolerant, and then eventually to, you know, I don't know what the word would be, just I don't care, whatever, you know.
Complacent about it.
Complacent, yeah. And it's like, and so I go back to, you know, I'm thinking, a friend of mine, he marched. I'll just say I don't have a whole lot. The number of black friends that are close to me, I could probably count on both my hands. And but one of them was marching downtown on Sunday or on Saturday, and he just went live on Facebook, and I didn't see it until later at night or whatever. And so I watched it and saw what he was doing, and just heard what he said, and just kind of in his doing that kind of put me in the march, because I got to see him, and see what he was experiencing and hear what he was thinking and what the people around him were thinking, and it's like, I don't know, it hit me differently. It made me think, I may not have ever been a racist, but I don't think I'd have done anything to stop other people from being racist. And so, so my hope, and my prayer in this, on that specific issue that's going on right now in a new way, is that we come out the other side of this with a lot bigger army against racism.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And maybe I think we can lump some other things in there too, and say we need people to protect each other from the ugly by just breathing and shining light into those situations, because God is truth.
You know how many
and if people really know truth,
yeah, man.
There's no, in my feeling is, there's no way someone could wrong someone else if they really knew truth, because that is the they would understand that all of that has adverse effects on so many levels to wrong someone else, and so they would just not do it because they would understand, and I think a lot of that stuff happens just because they don't understand. They don't understand there is truth. Yeah. And so Jeremiah Bolick, I don't do a lot of Facebook. I did it twice in the last week, which is really unusual for me. And one of the times I caught a Jeremiah Bolick thing, and he went down to a protest, and he was just saying how, he went and met with them and said, hey, we want the same thing. We just think it's going to take Jesus to do this. And it's like, well, and the lady immediately, the protest organizer, she's like, well, I brought my pastor with me, let me introduce you. And before you knew it, they're praying in a circle. Yeah. And so it's not, I think, you said earlier, I think there's moments where things are so ugly, maybe even as the church, maybe we need to step back,
sure,
for our own safety.
I think you're right.
And not be stupid. When we get to the point where we know there's nowhere this is going to go but bad, we need to step back and let some time and some healing and some.
Let the Lord work, man.
Yeah, let the Lord work on that.
Let the Lord work. Yeah, it's His work.
Yeah, but when it's just people protesting, we need to. As the church, we need to, and I'm not saying the people that are protesting aren't part of the church. They certainly are, many of them. But I think, as the church, we didn't do a good job on other social issues over the last 2-3 decades.
Oh, yeah, we have.
In breathing light into those things. And I think that's part of the reason why we're still in 2020 battling an issue in this country that's been going on for centuries. Yeah.
So there's an earlier comment that I think this is a good segue. Yeah. They said, "I wish I had the strength to fight off the ugly instead of giving into it."
I wish I had the strength
to fight off
the ugly.
Fight off the ugly
instead of giving into it.
One
of the things I thought, and this is just, again, this is a silly little illustration. I don't mean to make it the heart of theology. But for me, as I said on Sunday, chasing ugly is interesting, and that is ugly slow. And it doesn't take much to catch it. Literally, if you're You can catch ugly, man.
Right.
But the other side of the coin is, and I believe this with all my heart, ugly's also slow in that it can't catch you. If you be willing to stand up and say, guys, I'm not going to get in this conversation. I mean, you're done. It's not real hard to just say, hey, you know what? I still love that guy, and no offense, and I love you too, but I'm just not going to be a part of throwing him under the bus or putting him down right now. If you want to pray for him, I'll pray with you. If we want to call him and talk to him and try to, or whatever, just to literally say, man, it's as easy. I feel like it's as easy to get out of it as it is to get into it. Maybe that's wrong.
No, I wish that was true, but I think it's easier just to kind of giggle or kind of nod your head or not say anything,
Yeah, because if we left, we would be voting that we don't like that. By our leaving, we would be saying we're not going to be part of that. We don't think that's right. But by staying there, it's easier to stay there and just not do anything. Don't participate.
Yeah, but that might not be the right thing, though.
Oh, no.
Sometimes we got to be bold enough to walk away, or to just be bold enough to say, hey, I'm not okay with that. Let's not do that. Let's move on.
I remember one of my kids, I don't know which one it was, and it really doesn't matter. It's not a big issue. But they went to some, and I've already alluded to it. I don't know why. Went to a movie with some friends.
Right.
And they hadn't been there 15 minutes when they knew, dude, this is not the kind of stuff I watch. It's not been a part of my family. So I don't need to be here. And I said, in that moment, get up, come in the foyer and call me, and I'll come get you. I don't care where you are. I'll come get you.
Right.
But don't put yourself in a situation where you just absorb that junk.
But you know how much boldness that would take a teenager to do?
I know.
But I'm saying we have, either we go along with something that we know we shouldn't be doing, or we be bold enough to say, yeah, come get me. And then your friends will be like, well, where'd you go? I just couldn't be a part of that movie.
It's been a long time since I was a teenager.
Do you think it'd be easier for a teenager or easier for an adult?
We're both in the same boat, Ben.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, Ben.
Particularly if you're an adult with a group of peers that you respect and you want to earn their respect.
That's a good point.
And something comes up and it's like, man, if I share my stance on this issue right now, every one of these guys is going to be done with me.
Yeah, I've been witnesses to some crazy stuff on golf courses with business people before. So.
Yeah. So to literally, I just want to say, maybe that's a hard decision to make, but it's not hard to get out of if you make the decision that says, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going.
And that doesn't mean you don't love them.
No.
That doesn't mean that...
You don't have to condemn them.
Yeah.
You don't have to put them down. You don't have to give up whatever them is.
You don't have to agree with everybody.
No, but you can say...
We live in a very PC world, and honestly, people are afraid to even open their mouth right now.
Yeah, I think we need to be real. We need to be who we are.
Just be who we are. That's right.
And not apologize for it.
And it needs to be clear to those around us who we are as a result of us being real.
Yeah.
And it's when we're not clear about it, that we come out and we think we've lived this great Christian life, and they say,
I didn't even know you were a Christian.
I thought you were vegetarian. Whatever that's
no, that's right.
That's I don't know. I remember that a long time ago, Ben. Somebody says,
I need a J book.
Was that right? I thought you were a vegetarian. You're like,
I need a
woo! Evidently, I wasn't very clear about that one,
But as long as you look at someone with love in your heart and in your eyes, and you extend grace in that moment,
But you and I both know, all of us know.
It's difficult.
You can have all the love you want, you can extend all the grace you want, but in certain situations, people will still take that as, oh, you think you're better than me. You think you know more than I do. You think you're more spiritual than I am. Oh, you're too big for all that. Whatever. All that stupid stuff, which is just a manipulation to try to get you to buy into that. And I'm glad this conversation went the way it went, because I can't change all the world's ugliness. I want to be a light in the world. The number one ugliness that I'm worried about is the ugliness that's in me. That's the one that's the one I want the Lord to take care of, And if I can help others find freedom from some of that, that'd be wonderful. But I just want to be able to be in a difficult situation and exhibit grace and love and compassion and I don't always do that very well.
What's some help for us, Harry, when we talk about we're just living in ugly, we're chasing ugly, it's just, it's a battle. For some of us, we can feel like, man, I'm still living in the same moment that happened 2 years ago, and it's still eating my lunch. The person says, I wish I had the strength to fight off the ugly instead of just giving into it. Like, what is some hope to help us with that? Some just practical, spiritual help.
Yeah, okay. The first thing is, I think, and I don't know, you guys can throw into this as well. The first thing is, man, you got to be serious about your relationship with Jesus.
Okay.
Because I feel like this is where I am right now. I'm trying to work through this right now in my own personal devotional life, my own personal study life, and that is, unless you can trust that there's somebody that's got this situation in their hands, then you're going to feel hugely responsible to do something or not do something. It's just hard to back out and not just jump in the stream with everybody else. Unless you know God's got this, He's got where this is going to go, He's got how they're going to respond to me, He's got the whole thing. So for me, there's a huge piece. Where I get in trouble is, and I do this little thing with words, I don't know how He's going to do it. And it seems like I get stuck sometimes on, Lord, how are you going to fix this? How are you going to straighten this up? You know what just happened there? And I've been a fixer, and I want to fix it. And I'm getting out of that a little bit. How are you going to do that? And I want to learn, the question is not how, the question is who. He's going to fix it. How? I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. Does that make any sense? I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
And I could go around acting like I know. I could go around and say, well, I believe that it's been revealed. Well, and maybe people do get that revealed to them. A lot of times, I just want to say, I don't have a clue how God's going to work it out, but I'm confident He's working in the middle of it. And He's working in it right now.
I think a lot of times God's answer to some of those questions, in my comical God vision that I have sometimes, would be, it's above your pay grade.
That's right. That's exactly what I've said about how and who. And I've been one of those guys that felt like, if you don't give me the how, I can't buy it. I mean, how are we going to fix this? You could think of any ugly situation you had recently, or we had recently. So how's this going to work out? I've had people get mad at me and do all kinds of things. I'm like, okay, how in the world? And I have to say, I hope I'll get to the point. I hope I'll get to the point. I say, I don't have a clue how, but I'm absolutely convinced who. And so I respell H-O-W and make it say W-H-O. See, that's one of my little tricks. And the answer is not how, the answer is who. And I've been stuck on how too long. And I got to get over that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got caught up today, watching a couple of Facebook videos, like a news conference in New York, and it's good to just be aware of what's going on. I get that, but it's hard not to click the comment section on social media. It's hard not to start scrolling what people are saying, and I find myself in that moment today, and the Lord just checked me enough to where I had to choose to get out of that. He's given me the free will to either stay in that and to continue to grind my teeth and feel the tension arise, or He gave me the freedom to say, you can exit that anytime you want. And so today there was victory in that. But there's days where just last week I was up to 1:30 in the morning, just scrolling video after video, just couldn't go to sleep because I was just
How'd that work in your
Yeah, that worked real good. My body hurt when I got up the next morning. My jaw literally had a spot on it because I knew the tension that I was feeling the night before.
People need to feel free to watch something, experience it, try it, have a unique new idea and comment about it, and keep it to themselves.
Yeah, but that's the unfortunate thing about social media, man. It's just not. It's not the world we live in. I mean, it's not.
That doesn't make it good.
Well, I'm not. I'm just telling you. That's why I've had to I'm not putting my hand in the sand.
I struggle a little bit
with it
because I'm about about 30 years older than him and 20 years older than you, Ben. And so my life's a little bit different than your all's, and I'm reminded of that all the time. But there's a lot of that just don't fit for me, man. I'm just like, you know, the kind of things that can be said on social media that people would never say. They never look at you and say that, right?
That's right.
But it's such a different era. I can't tell you how many times I am the most opinionated guy on the planet. I got opinions about everything. Whether or not you should be wearing, by the way, Trevor's got his hat on backwards tonight. I got an opinion about whether or not, I don't, but I got opinions about everything. And so many times the Lord says, I don't care about your opinion, just don't, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Yeah. If we're being led by Him, I mean, you're not going to be led astray at that point, you know. No. If I'm being led by my feelings and my thoughts, I'm up 1:30 in the morning looking at Facebook videos, just getting angry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
let the Word of God and Jesus in your mind, the Holy Spirit, be your moderator for your comments. You know?
And Ben, He will be. Man, He will be. I am convinced most of the time the question is not knowing what to do. The question is just being willing to do it, you know.
Right,
We've been hearing,
that's
man,
good,
it's late, you need to go to bed, get off this thing. And you're like, well, I'm going to see what this next guy says, blah, 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 and there you go, you know. And that's interesting. I'm not over yet, and I want to throw this in tonight. I'm not over yet. The little cycle that Isaiah lays out in chapter 5. He says we basically be dishonest with ourselves.
Okay.
And then we're clever enough that we make it fit in our lives and we justify our behavior. It's amazing to me.
Yeah.
That is such a picture of where I am and we are at times, where I feel like he uses 3 different illustrations. It seems we call evil good and good evil. We call darkness light and light darkness. We call bitter sweet and sweet bitter. And so we twist it a little bit, and we the Hebrew word for clever or shrewd means we just make it work. We twist it enough degrees to make it fit, and then we justify ourselves. And I want the Lord to help me not to do that. I'm not barking at everybody else about doing that, but I just don't want to do that. And to be honest with yourself is huge. Again, I got a text from a lady this morning that was so honest with me that I was so thrilled to get it. You know, she said, I really struggled, and I'm thinking, and she was honest, and I'm just like, man, you've got huge spiritual potential just because of your honesty, you know. So I love that. I love that. So I don't know. I think if we can follow the Lord and trust that He's involved, and Ben says, let Jesus and the Word of the Lord be the moderator of your life, believe He's involved. I really think on a real practical level, we don't always really believe the Lord's involved. I get too tore up about stuff. I ought to be saying, you know, Jesus has got this. He got this.
And not in some whimsical, flimsy, yeah, we're good, He's got it, you know. But to really believe that, like, that's the God we serve. That's the God that's alive and well and moving.
And that doesn't mean sometimes He doesn't say, yeah, I've got it, but Harry, I want you to do this. Okay, yeah, okay. But just to have a foundational confidence that says, I don't know where this is all going to go, but I know He's in charge. You know, I don't know. But it was funny, something I think you said earlier, Ben, I don't know, about complacency. So when we shot the little video today, Facebook video, comes out in the morning. You guys watch it. Share it with somebody if you want. I'm sitting in this dumpster all reared back. My feet are on the back of the dumpster and my arms are stretched out like this. And trash is everywhere. I mean, they didn't empty it today. Trash is everywhere. And me and Trevor put it up close to me. So I'm sitting in this garbage heap and I said, isn't it amazing how comfortable you can get in a dumpster? And we do, man.
Yep.
We do.
Yep.
And so.
But the truth is, you work because you ripped your pants.
I was real good for a while, Ben. Then I scooted just a little bit, and I think it was a carpet tack underneath this piece of plastic, and it went right through my britches, man. I'm like, oh, Trevor.
I'm pretty sure you're 2 for 2 on ripping your favorite pants when it comes to our dumpster videos.
Last time we did dumpster video, I ripped my favorite pair of jeans.
Yeah.
And today I put a hole in my favorite.
Okay, so step one of me getting in a dumpster full of trash is get the worst clothes.
That's right.
I know, dude. I haven't thought that through, man.
I mean, that's step one, man.
Hey, you remember one time, you remember this, Ben. I don't know if Trevor's here then or not. It was in the early, well, it probably wasn't the early days of cell phones, but maybe in the early days of a lot of iPhones and all those capabilities and OtterBox. Harold Newton had a cell phone with an OtterBox. And I said, Harold, I want you during the service to throw your phone up to me. And he said, I was some point in the sermon, I don't know.
Yeah.
So he's going to throw his phone up to me.
You gotta love a good sermon illustration,
Man,
you know?
if you don't have a sermon illustration, you ain't got a sermon, you know? And so Harold said, okay, you know Harold. Oh my goodness. So sure enough, at some point in the service, he throws it completely over my head and landed back, which was the plan.
He was in the back of the church.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just an underhand toss in the second row.
The dude threw the thing.
The dude chucked it.
And before the service, or after the service, he told me, you know, I had determined I was going to take my phone out of the box and just throw the box. That way I do. But I thought, you know, that would spoil the integrity of the whole illustration.
Yeah.
So he left his phone in the OtterBox and he threw it all the way up there. And I don't have a clue what that has to do with what we were talking about. I don't have a clue.
Hey, that's the fun story of the night. You're welcome.
I love Harold Newton. I miss Harold. He was a uniquely spirited guy, you know, in so many ways. He was my friend.
I like Happy Harold. I didn't like Mad Harold. He was
I mean,
he was not fun.
woo, he was as bad happy as you know. What? He was extreme happy and extreme mad, wasn't he, Ben? Yeah, but he did better as he went along, like all of us.
Man, I got a great opportunity for people, Harry. If they don't want to chase ugly, right? They don't want to chase ugly. Man, you can give to the Teen Youth Fundraiser we got going on right now.
Are we back on the Teen Youth Fundraiser again?
You can give to the Teen Youth Fundraiser to get these kids to camp. We're up to like 24 kids from our church wanting to go to camp. And so I want to take a second.
I want you to take as long as you want.
To thank everyone out there who's given already, and generosity has been overwhelming. We're several $100s away from the goal that I had in mind, and so.
Well, remember, how are we going to know what the goal is if you don't tell us?
I was hoping to get like $2,000, because then that way everybody could get a significant amount.
Maybe $100 a piece.
Yeah.
If we could get $2,400, it'd be great.
Right.
Every kid would get $100 towards camp.
Every kid would get $100 towards camp. Right.
Yeah. How far away are we?
We're like at 1,400, 1,500 right now. So we're
okay. One of you that wants to send us, listen, just go ahead and
we have a couple of days left.
Hey, you can be public. You can text in right now and say, I'm going to give you $100.
You can stop by the church, drop off your check, give online.
Come to Trevor's house tonight.
LouisvilleFirst.org/give is the easiest way to do it.
Knock on the door.
Man, so, just want to make sure people know that there is still time to give to that. Whatever you feel that Lord's telling you to give, we'll take it. Just to get some kids to camp. That's why we're doing it.
I have a good idea. Guys, before we go, it's a good idea. We kind of wrap this hour up. We've talked a lot about avoiding the negative.
Right.
How can we celebrate the beauty just for a minute?
Absolutely.
Talk to me let's talk about for instance, Sylvia Lowry's in the hospital. Thought maybe she had some major pancreas issue. She thought she's having the same thing Mort had.
Okay.
Ugly pancreatitis. Come to find out it was a gallstone, and they got some kind of new process where they go in and dissolve it through, I don't know, all that stuff. But it worked beautifully. She went home. She's at home now recovering. And, man, just the beauty. I mean, here's a lady that's older than me and wants to live. She told me her blood pressure is 60/20. She said, man, I really thought I was going to die.
Wow.
And I told the Lord, I don't want to die. And I don't know if she's close to death or not, but I know the Lord raised her up, and she's rejoicing in that. And, man, there's so many good and wonderful things that you guys, I
got a silly, maybe it's not silly, but I think someone, I don't know if it's true or not, I didn't check my sources, but someone said that State Fair is going to happen, is what I heard. So I've heard that. Somebody said maybe in the news conference today.
It might be a lie.
So I don't know what State Fair looks like in 2020, but it's on, So that's a positive note.
I heard somebody talking in the a young parent, I don't remember which one, Sunday after church, saying they're getting ready for baseball. I said, oh, you're going to have baseball?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I got another one, Harry.
Okay.
Next Wednesday night, not this Wednesday night, next Wednesday night, the 17th, youth group will be back, children's group will be back, and Wednesday night service is back.
It'll be different, but it'll be back.
It'll be different.
Are you guys going to meet outside or inside? Have you decided?
I haven't decided yet. Yeah, regardless if we do, we'll be spaced out and not
Be
on top of
careful.
one another.
Yeah, I understand that.
It'd be social distanced. Spaced
Right.
out as a
Physical. I like the term physical distancing. Because if
Yeah,
you
you-
say social distancing with teenagers, man, they're like, that's not good.
That'd be like hugging. That would be like when social. You're just like right up in each other's.
I'm just going to sit over here in the corner and be quiet is what I
Now,
picture.
you know you're quoting when you say that, don't you?
Dr. Ben Carson.
Ben Carson. He said, I don't like the labels social distance because we're social beings and we need social connections.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be physical distance. And I thought, man, he's a smart guy, you know?
Very smart guy.
He's a smart guy. I love that. Man.
I
Do you know
thought-
how much
yeah.
more beauty and wonder and glory and preciousness there is in everyday life? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
just
yeah.
every day. It don't have to be some big event. My goodness. There's just wonder in everything.
Jeannie got to see 3D photos of baby Anna.
And she immediately burst
Yeah.
into tears.
I wasn't there. I couldn't, obviously you can't be there right now, but she brought photos back, and it's pretty awesome to see
How sweet.
a human being like inside your wife. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy.
Check your mic, Harry. Is your mic still on?
Yeah, I'm still on. Am I off?
Okay, it's working now.
Well, that's probably a good signal for us to get off here anyway.
Yeah, we
I
just
tell
hit the hour mark.
I just want to tell you, though, it's people that make me, that just fill my heart with joy. I mean,
good.
things are important, but people, man.
Yeah.
People. Just people. And they come in all shapes and colors and sizes and ages, and it's an absolute joy. So, I don't know. My prayer for me is that the Lord will get me out of the ugly, man. I just don't want to be there.
Amen.
And I love, Ben, thank you tonight for early on directing us in a way that says that doesn't mean we take ourselves out of the dark places of our world.
Right.
We need to be in the dark places of our world as a light. Not as another dark place. Sometimes, hey, you know what? Sometimes the church shows up and it gets darker instead of more light, man. And I don't want any part of that. So let's, just be a light place. And that's so important. I think
Chase Jesus, right? Like chase Jesus, not
right,
ugly.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of
just go after him.
because you said that. I
You
think
don't
that's
chase Jesus. He's your.
That's right.
Right.
I got to put on camera so everybody sees.
That's good, yeah.
He's right here, man.
That's right. That's
He's right
right.
here.
Oh, hey, Ben, that's some good news.
But you do have to take, because what you said earlier, I think hits home for me is like you have to take your relationship with Jesus serious.
Oh, yeah, man, you do.
And when I mean chase Jesus, I mean you have to make sure you take time to be with Him. You
I
got
love
to read
that.
His Word.
I love that.
You got to make sure that you're
I love
open
that.
to
Keep
His
going. You're
Spirit.
preaching
You know
good.
what I mean? Like
Yep.
that's what I mean by chasing. I don't
Here's
mean
what
like,
I'm gonna
oh,
do.
well, yeah, Jesus, I'm chasing you.
No, and
You
I
know?
agree exactly. I agree with everything you're saying, and I agree with everything Ben just said. Once you make that decision,
Yeah.
you turn your head and boom, there you
Yeah,
go.
because you've said that over and over again over the last couple of weeks is, if you're really serious about Jesus, like you don't have to sit in a room all day and pray,
No, man, he's right there.
Yeah.
You just turn your head, just turn toward him, and it'll be like, ooh, I didn't know you were there. So there's no, and I even thought about in this whole little chasing ugly thing. Do you have to chase Jesus? No, the truth is he's chasing us.
It's good.
He's chasing us, man. He is the hound of heaven, as the old poets that you wrote about. He's chasing us. He's not hard to find.
I feel like that,
in fact,
that could be a book right there.
E. Stanley Jones used to say, you have to be careful when you're reaching for him or you reach too far. You've reached right past him. You think, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this. And the truth is, wait a minute, he was right there. And I think, man, we overcomplicate that. I just don't want to overcomplicate that. Trevor's reading responses. Anybody else on that?
I'm just making sure I've responded to everybody. Michelle Marlin says, what's at camp? I'm trying to get my boys to go. She needs a sales pitch. It's church camp. It's a wonderful time.
Do what now?
She wants her kids to go to church camp.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, we've got 24, so I'm good with hitting the 30 mark. Anybody else want to go? Just hop on.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, church camp's wonderful.
I assume she means what happens at church camp.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
Lots of revival. And that's the theme this year. It's
a week
revival.
the kids are together, and they typically have a service every day, and they have some kind of small group or study or thing every morning.
Activities.
And other than that, they eat 3 times a day. They have all kinds of activities.
There's a creek we always jump in.
They hang out in the creek and do all kinds of crazy
We literally
things.
had some teens last year like rig up like fishing string and like a bottle cap as a bobber.
Hey,
And
dude,
literally, they caught fish.
take a poll this year, baby. Take a poll. Speaking of which, Noah Hill went to James's little lake behind his house, with a Fisher Price pole this long.
No, it's
James
Lightning
said.
McQueen.
Lightning
Yes.
McQueen.
Lightning McQueen pole, and James said caught the biggest bass that they've seen come out of that lake this year.
Hey, when you got it, you got it. You know.
Speaking of which, Isaiah, I call over there Sunday morning, and before they came to church Sunday morning, Isaiah had already caught 8 fish that morning. So they're having a big time with that. So, but anyway, it's good. So take some time and see who can. First one to answer this question gets a prize. Now. And then when we get off here,
Okay.
gets a prize. Now I don't.
I always like a good prize. He doesn't know the prize, Ben.
Do we have a pizza sent to their house?
I don't. It's up to you, man. This is your show, Harry. You're in charge.
Well, if you want the pizza, you tell us. Okay?
I thought you were going to say like whoever donates money tonight, you were going to match that donation.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, I didn't say nothing like that. So who sang the song about you need to stop and smell the roses? Oh man. Ben, you can't play. He's Googling already.
Well, who do you think people at home are doing? They're Googling.
You got an answer yet?
Stop. No, man, there's a 30-second delay. Calm down, my man.
Yeah, I have an answer.
You already got the answer?
Well, Ben, you don't count, man. You're here.
I'm not going to tell him. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was just saying, I'm just
So he did fact check you. He's fact checked him.
fact check.
Stop and
Can
smell.
you like hum the song for us or something?
Nope.
Can't even hum it?
I tell you though, it's kind of
I'm going to guess, Noah, it's a very old song.
It's kind of a country guy. It's not particularly.
Little Garth Brooks.
Oh no, way before Garth Brooks.
Way before Garth.
back 30
What'd I
years
tell you, Noah? We're back where the dinosaurs roamed the earth, I guess.
I don't ever listen to country. The place we were working today, they had, what's it called? Willie's Roadhouse on the radio. And some of those songs, man, I was cracking up laughing at some of them. I mean, they're like terribly inappropriate in some ways, but it's like, I don't know. It's just,
Do you hear?
I don't ever listen to country, so.
If you play a country record backwards, you get your wife back, you get your dog back, you get your job back.
That's right.
Yeah.
You don't have an answer?
I think you stumped him.
Okay, then nobody gets a prize.
Dan Morrison said Johnny Cash.
No, sorry, Dan. Nice try, but that's not right.
Let me see if Google is right. We were ready. I remember.
Are we-
What do we give you? 15 seconds?
We'll give him 15 seconds.
Give him 15 more seconds. I mean, is this a for real prize? Like they're going to get a prize?
If somebody answers.
We're not just like making that up.
No,
Like,
no.
Somebody's getting a prize tonight.
Yeah, I will go.
Why has no one answered? 'Cause
I will
I'm
go to
a
Walmart and
competitive
get a bag
guy.
of M&Ms and
There's another guess.
Charlie Rich.
no.
I don't even know who a Charlie Rich is.
Oh, good grief. Man, shame on you.
Name a Charlie Rich song.
Okay. 5, 4,
You can't even name a Charlie Rich song.
3, 2,
Mac Davis.
time's up. What did you? Who did you say?
No, look at my Google search.
Noah Hill wins.
I was going to say, who did you say? Mac Davis is right.
Who is-
Mac Davis is right.
Big Mac Daddy
I can't
Davis.
believe nobody knew
Man,
that.
I can't believe nobody knew
Amy's-
Big Mac Daddy
See what
Davis.
the date is for that.
Amy
Yeah.
Saley just put it on there too, but she was after we already.
She was
Sorry,
after.
Amy.
But she was 30 seconds delayed, so she probably still put it on there before it got to her.
Ah, yeah, how about that? Okay,
I
Amy.
think she's a winner.
I think she is too. Hey, Amy, do you want us to send a pizza to your house?
Well, that'll take like a minute, so she can just tell her to tell us if she wants it to her house, and
And then we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Or if she wants you to
Today
donate
or
money to the Teen Camp fundraiser, then.
Yeah, just Amy, you just decide what you want your prize
So
to be.
donate money at Teen Camp Fundraiser or order a pizza. You decide, Amy. I mean, you could be selfish, but
Don't
you know.
worry about. Don't worry about.
I mean, a
up
good
to you.
pizza, that could be like a $25
That's
envelope.
$25
Don't
envelope.
worry
yeah.
about Trevor's hyper
That could be like
manipulation that he's trying to do.
$28.50 at least in my mind for a good pizza.
$28.50. That's a big pizza.
Yeah, that's extra
Amy, let us
large.
know. Look at Amy. It must have been a Google because Amy wasn't even out. She wasn't even live when that song
What did
was
we
on.
did we figure out a date for that?
I'm going to guess.
1938.
No, 1971.
Oh, a date for that song?
Yeah. Mac Davis.
So it was in the 70s. Is that like a
You
song you
gotta
used to listen to?
74. That was a good year. That's the year I was
74?
born. Yep.
Yeah, I was a senior in high school that
So
year.
that was like the senior song that
No,
year?
no, but it was a song I knew.
What was the senior song that year?
Dude, I don't know. Exile.
By
Exile.
Exile by Exile?
Exile was a group in Richmond.
Oh, okay. So you were more of like the local band
No,
scene.
I wasn't, but-
Okay.
Mac Davis looks a lot like the guy from Little House on the Prairie. What's his name?
I've never watched
Little
that show,
Joe?
Ben.
No, the dad.
Have you watched Little House on Prairie, Noah?
What is that?
Your parents have made you watch that? You poor guy.
I don't know Dad's name. He was always, he's so sober and cool and smart and all that stuff.
Amy says no, she doesn't want the pizza. She would love for someone to donate $100 to the Teen
Michael
Youth Growth
Landon.
Fundraiser.
Michael Landon. Yeah, he's little Joe from Bonanza.
All right,
He's not
Harry.
Dad, is he?
Pray us out, man. Pray us out. We're talking about Prairie Village on the prairie or something. What are we talking about?
You know what we're doing?
We're in the bushes. That's what we're doing.
We're
we're
way in the bushes,
No,
my
we're
man.
not.
We're looking.
No,
We're looking for rhinos in the bushes.
Listen, no. We don't have an ugly bone in our body right
That's
now.
true.
We're enjoying every
That's
moment
true.
of that.
I guess I'm being ugly. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you are.
Apologize.
Trevor. Wow. Come on, man.
Come on, help a brother out, would you? Come on, dude.
I'm just trying to like.
See,
I'm just trying to help everyone's pain at home right now.
He was chasing the
Man,
You're
the
chasing
numbers,
me, dude.
our viewage is dropping here, guys.
I ain't worried about our
shoot
viewage.
the dead
We're not
cow
doing this
already.
for our viewage. Okay. And truth is, he's got a.
I was supposed to go home and help with getting the sheets back on the top bunk, but
Okay, let me pray for us. Lord, thank you that we get to be together tonight, and it's fun to just talk and laugh and have a good time. I'm very serious, Lord, in the call upon all of us, and especially on me, to be able to respond in love and grace and tenderness in difficult situations. We don't ask you. It's interesting. Jesus didn't say, "I will take you out of the world," but He will use us as a light to transform and be helpful in difficult situations. And I pray you to help us to just have a heightened sensitivity to that in our lives. And thank you for those that are on that journey today, and help us as we move forward. Thank you for our time together, and bless everyone that's watched. We ask these things in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and everybody said, amen.